How are you managing? You have someone on the back? Not really, yeah. It's been awful because of COVID. We've just started playing with yeah, I'm in the club, I'm in the 56. It's so bad. I told the training on Thursday. I hope so. You know, he assisted the try. It was so depressing. There's a bloke standing at fullback and he just stands to catch it. Yeah, so like penalty. I know, I said like that. I mean, you should see. One good thing with this year, what I said, I mean, he didn't do it. Do you want to go
So you're just going to have to, so whenever you've got cops go in.
One bloke got kicked out because he gave five.
Do you want me to go get the press mic on the pitch now? Yes.
We'll call them later.
Yeah.
The pitch mic?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll do the pitch mic then. Because that means that they can go wherever they need to.
I love how seeing like the transition of like different
Yeah, that's
that will go and then all of a sudden
Have you seen that video of that guy who's like smashing this girl? He hits the bat on the ceiling. Which she doesn't notice.
Look at this. This is what we want.
They're beginning to go out. Can I plug this ref mic in now? Okay, well, if I plug in, I'll just give it. Right, so is the mic down? Okay, can you let me know once we're going to put it back up? So I've got this mic for you two, which means you can go anywhere you want, because this wirelessly connects, so it doesn't matter. The mic is off currently, but I'll give you a thumbs up or a countdown when they're coming in. So that's for you two.
So it's a simple battery clip. He's not going to pick up his He's not going to pick up their chat. Pick up ours. Go up back. We could, yeah, oh, I can't get on there. See that? Huh? See that? I reckon we don't know who's bowling. Like, we have no idea.
Let's go, boys!
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Slight less and by very over match.
Yeah, just quickly whip up the YouTube. I think it's on like CheersMate Productions or something. Is it on?
I think we're on. So, welcome everyone to the Pilgrims game 2021. Apologies for the delayed start, but we are starting in a reduced game of 30 overs. Billy Stevenson's with me. Hello Billy, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Looking forward to this game. It should be good. Yeah, as we said, reduced overs because of the torrential rain that we've had this week, but we've started to clear and looking like the forecast should be good.
Yeah.
For the rest of the game. Might get a few showers, but
it was sort of raining at 2 a.m. last night. I was getting a bit worried, but luckily this morning the clouds seem to have just lifted a bit. It's a bit lighter, and we're set for a good day. For those of you who don't know, Sherborne lost the toss and have been put into bat, and we're currently looking for a ball.
No ball available. Been waiting around this long and there's no one's thought to get a ball.
So, Billy, for the non-regular cricket watchers, what are we expecting with conditions like this with the ball?
Well, so obviously I'd say good toss to win. You definitely want to bowl. Clouds covering the ground. Obviously the new ball, it should swing around a bit, but we'll see. Obviously, never really know what to expect, but Rafe O'Brien and Cam Golding are opening the batting, so hopefully they can get off to a good start.
Yeah, we have sort of the old and new. Rafe O'Brien has been a staple of the first for a couple of years now. Cam Golding, a new addition to the squad. It's going to be Rafe to face strike first.
Pilgrims have started with 2 slips. Interesting, as I said, should swing around early, so that's probably a good
yeah. Pitch not as green as you might expect. It looks like they've covered it up a bit. The more green it is, the more you'll expect it to swing. And I mean, it will swing, especially with the newer ball. Reynolds is captaining the Pilgrims team today, who some of you may know as the son of Mr. Reynolds. In comes the first ball, straight and safely defended from Rick O'Brien back to the bowler.
Yeah, Will Smyberg as well is wicket keeping.
Yeah, we've got an array of levers from different years. Quite recent. The most recent, Ollie Noble in 2020. But we have Will Smyberg, who left in 2009, taking the gloves today. So it's going to be an interesting contest. Second ball comes in bowls. Right. It's a bit of a short and wide one down the leg side. I think that's a definition of a loosener right there. How do you think the two batsmen will be looking to approach the side?
I know, obviously, as we've already discussed, pretty difficult conditions, but reduce. I guess their mindset has had to have changed. Originally a 50-over game, they could really bed in at the start. We'll have to score slightly quicker than they would have been thinking. That's left alone and might be signalled wide again, and it is.
Yeah. If you're a bowler coming in on this pitch, what sort of line are you looking to bowl? Are you looking to bowl top of off?
Well, I guess it depends what you swing at. I'd say you want to be quite full, especially to start. Encourage the drive really.
Comes in bowls, and that's just clipped off the pad, and Rafe will get off the mark with 2 runs into the leg side. Good little clip off your legs there. Nice to get a nice confident opening shot. Yeah, you always want to get off the mark, especially at Pilgrims. Obviously missing the swathes of fans that would be here normally, which is disappointing. But well, hopefully next year we'll make up for it. And he comes bowling down the hill again, just that leg side. It's a great one-handed take from the keeper. First have had an interesting start to the season. Hasn't been entirely consistent.
Played quite a few games. Batting especially has been inconsistent. No one's really managed to make a score, but hopefully they can get off to a decent start today. And they've this bowler comes in again.
That's left more the line you want to be bowling. Yeah,
left
so just outside off.
Yeah, lots of people. They played Free Foresters last weekend. Again, kind of a start to the season. Lots of people making starts, kind of 20 odd, and then managing to get themselves out. So, hoping of a bit more of a contribution today.
Yeah, definitely. As he comes in bowls, just
another down
the leg side again,
signal wide.
And this one is signal low wide. But yeah, on paper the Sherborne team should be very strong in terms of batting, but it just hasn't worked out quite yet. They've got a few players who have been slightly out of form, and they'll be hoping to perform today. Obviously quite a bit different from a 50-over game. As he comes in bowls.
Well, that's flicked off his legs nicely.
Don't know if there's any bat involved there. Might be an offside pad. We'll take another 2.
So the outfield is slightly...
And the umpire signals leg byes there.
So the outfield is slightly wet, so might not run away as you would expect. So it should dry up throughout the as the match goes on. The upper, obviously, as you can see, it's very nice, but it usually drains quite well as well.
Comes in bowls. So this one's a wide on the offside. Just hasn't quite found that consistent length so far.
How often do you reckon they play? Do you reckon the Pilgrims, have they been playing some club cricket, do you reckon?
I reckon. Well, I know quite a few of them are keen cricket fans, so I expect they'll be playing as much cricket as possible. But as he comes in bowls, this one's just prodded into the offside. Oh, quick run taken, direct hit, and he probably would have been struggling. And then there's a misfield on the leg side, which allows them to take the second. There's a bit of
nice confident push into the offside there. A little bit of a hesitant run.
Yeah, a bit of nerves all around there. Yeah, direct throw would have been struggling. But yeah, I imagine a couple of them will be in a bit rusty, especially with the weather. There won't have been too many big games
kind of
on.
Been hanging around for a little bit as well this morning. That's better line though.
Clipped off the pads, no run taken. And that will be the first over done. Not the most consistent over, you'll see. But
But yeah, just as I was just saying, might take them a bit of time to warm up. But I mean, the cricket should be reasonably good. A few of the players playing today from Pilgrims were pretty decent cricketers when they were at Sherborne.
Well, the keeper's got the jumper off already, which is a good sign for weather to come. There is sun breaking through the clouds a bit. It's got a bit lighter. Hopefully it stays like this. Having checked the weather forecast several times today, it's got progressively more hopeful. But you know, there is always the chance of rain. They've got 2 slips in at the moment.
Bowler just going through his run up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a good game. That's a decent first over for Sherborne. I think 11 came off that, only 4 runs off the bat.
Yeah, that will be something they'll be looking to eliminate.
Yeah,
is those wides, which, I mean, it's more sort of like your 4th team where the wides sort of stack up a bit, but hopefully it won't here. Comes in, bowls up the hill this time, and that's a good length.
Definitely a little bit more pace there, a bit quicker.
Yeah, a bit of bounce
Came
actually.
through the surface nicely.
On these green pitches, you sort of pitch up a bit and hope it swings, but it looks like there is a bit of bounce to it.
Certainly a bit of a way swing on that delivery.
Certainly to Cam Golding, who is not the tallest of players. It could get up to the chin height. He comes in, bowls, and that one's just fended off into the leg side. They'll take a quick single. And I think that's what Sherborne will be looking to do, is just sort of build that steady start.
Especially rotation of strike is very important. You don't want to get bogged down. You don't want the pressure to be on you. So not necessarily always about hitting the boundaries.
Yeah, and this is a team that haven't entirely made the most of their batting opportunities this season, so they'll be looking to do that. Again, this one's banged in short, and Rafe O'Brien manages to defend that to second slip.
Is it unit? Oh, right, yeah,
Certainly the way I wanted to spend my Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I would agree.
So he comes in, bowls. This one off the middle of the bat.
That's definitely a better line there.
Yeah.
As I said, it's just a touch quicker than the bowler from the other end, and that's definitely the line that you want to bowl.
Yeah, with 2 left-handers at the crease, what they'll be looking to do is coming over the wicket. They'll look to angle it across the batsman and hope to draw that edge.
Yeah.
So he comes in again, bowls. This one's a bit full on the pads, and it's tickled down to find leg for another single.
I'm expecting they might also try a bit around the wicket.
Yeah.
Soon. Might bring the LBW into play a lot more.
Yeah.
So you can't be out.
You can see
left-hander pitching outside leg.
You can see what they're doing with the new ball. You'd sort of want to angle it across the batsman a bit, and when it gets older, I should imagine they'll come round, or if it's not working.
Started with decent length as well, so far, and there again.
That's a touch fuller.
Yeah. I feel like that's where you want to bowl if they drive you through the covers, and that's fair enough.
Who's your player to watch for the first today in terms of batting?
From the first today in terms of batting, well, I would like to see Rafe O'Brien get a few. I feel like Max Dowling has had a few starts. He made 44 in a 100 game recently, so hopefully he can convert to a 50 today. But yeah, as we mentioned earlier, lots of them got starts. I don't know what to expect. We were discussing earlier off commentary that Sherborne do bat quite deep. I feel like everyone in the team can certainly do a job with the bat. People like Tom Yates-Smith batting low down the order, Tom Rotherell as well.
Yeah, and he comes bowling again.
That's a better line, I would say.
I've just been sent a text by my mother who says she's loving the commentary. Will we be sent cakes like the BBC commentary team? I don't think we quite have the budget for
I did
that.
actually mention that earlier. If you'd like to send a cake or a Domino's,
we'll be here
would be
all
much
day,
appreciated.
so please do feel free to send anything. So he comes down the hill, bowls, and this one is another leg side wide.
And obviously they won't want another expensive over here. Pilgrims, the opening bowler, as it's a 30 over game, will have everyone's allowed to bowl. 5 bowlers can bowl 6, so you're usually looking as an opening bowler to bowl a spell of 3. But with these wides slightly racking up, I'm not sure whether they might take them off next over.
That's a better ball, which is clipped off the pads for a single down to final leg again. What's the difference for a pace bowler with a new ball bowling up the hill rather than down the hill?
Well, obviously it takes a bit more energy to bowl up the hill, and of course it'll come off the surface slightly slower. But I guess in some ways that can be a good thing, leads to the batsman potentially mistiming it, especially on the pitch that we've got today with the rain that we've had. Ball does stick in the pitch a bit as the bowler comes in again. A bit wider, is that going to be called a wide? It might.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes, it is.
The umpire had a little think about it, and then that looked about right from here.
So this is where I'd like the bowler to potentially try going around the wicket.
Yeah.
Hasn't quite worked out for him so far. I'm wondering whether we'll see him switch it up in a minute. He comes in off a relatively short runner. Down the leg side, it's just been. It's given.
It's another one called wide.
That one potentially slightly harsher.
I think you make an interesting point about the short run-up, because I think quite a lot of bowlers, after they bowl a wide, can maybe just try and forget about it, but then immediately try and go into the next ball.
Yeah.
Maybe he just needs to take a bit of time. And this looks like what he's doing here. He's coming around. Excellent punditry. I mean, we don't even get paid for this. In he comes, bowling around the wicket. And
nicely kept
seems a better ball. That's just a touch straight.
Yeah, that's much better. I'd certainly like him to. I think around the wicket is definitely a better ploy from here, which gives the batsman something else to think about.
Yeah, and as Billy said, that brings LBW into play.
Yeah, just the upper just kind of bathed in sunlight for a few seconds.
A few seconds before the clouds cover it again. And he comes down the hill.
Solid defence.
A firm defence.
Back to your point earlier about turning quickly at the end of the round. I think it's a very important point. If you bowl a bad delivery, especially when I'm bowling, if I'm bowling a match, I've been hit for a boundary or bowled a wide, I do just like to take a few extra seconds just to let myself think about the next delivery, and also to keep the batsman waiting a bit longer as well.
Comes in. Oh, it's a beauty.
Absolute jaffa.
It's just nipped inside through the gate, and it's knocked over Rafe O'Brien.
Around the wicket, something else to think about, and there we go.
Sherborne lose their first.
That's 19 for 1.
Rafe O'Brien goes for 7. It's a good ball. We talked about changing up a bit, going round the wicket, and that's exactly what he's done. That's a really nice ball. Yeah. He's just bowled it a bit fuller, and he's got that line just nipping in and back into off and middle. So after a good start, Sherborne lose their first, and it'll be Jez Meeker in at 3, known affectionately as the Mountain to his first team mates. And I think you can see why as he comes into
hopefully he can get a score today. I feel like, as we were mentioning, Sherborne do need people to bat substantial part of the innings.
Yeah,
and we're hoping that he can do that as Cam comes to greet him.
Yeah, well, Jez is a phenomenal batsman when he's at his peak. Have you ever batted with Jez before?
I've bowled against him, and it wasn't a very happy experience, shall we say. Luckily it was in the nets. I switched. I was bowling with a relatively new ball, and I quickly decided to switch to an older one because I didn't want it to get damaged. Good batsman, of course. Being taller, as we've discussed, nicknamed the Mountain. Where do you reckon they're trying to bowl? Do you think just nice and full? Obviously, if you bowl short, it's just going to sit up, really.
I mean, I think although it isn't as green as we might expect, it will be a bit of a sticky wicket in places. So I think you just got to push it up full. You've still got the new ball. It's going to do something off the surface. Right-hander in. Yeah. It's going to change the dynamic
right-hand,
a bit.
left-hand combination will certainly give the fielding side something to think about, especially the bowlers we've discussed has been a bit wayward so far this morning, so that might make it even harder for him. Obviously, however, that will give him a lot of confidence. A fantastic delivery to remove Rafe O'Brien.
Yeah. Just when it looked like Sherborne were getting settled and getting a nice first partnership underway.
Yeah, admittedly, there are not too many runs off the bat in those early overs.
So, Jez to face his first ball. It's banged into the pitch and it's immediately cut away. And that won't go for 4 because the outfield is so slow. It will be
That's
just
exactly
two there.
Exactly what we were mentioning. That was just slightly short. He just gets up on his back foot and just
But I
punches
think,
it through the
this pitch
middle region.
isn't going to be as quick as we expect. If you put it at that sort of length, it is going to sit up to be hit. And I think that's what people like Jez, who have got that height, can do, is try and take on those balls.
Yeah, I mean, as we've seen, the wicket from Rafe definitely came from much fuller delivery. And I feel like that's certainly where they will want to bowl.
Yeah, I think if you're the Pilgrims team here, balls like that should be the ones you're trying to eradicate and try and bowl those fuller balls which are going to trouble the batsman's pads and maybe their edge. We're getting a lot of kind comments. We got some comments from Angus Bushby and Felix Northover, who have been commenting on the professionalism of it so far. And he comes up the hill and Cam pats
nicely played under his eyes from Cam. That again, I would like to see. It'd be interesting to see how this bowler bowls to Jez. Obviously, being a little bit taller, a bit quicker. Whether that'll make it easier for Jez, we'll have to see. But certainly, Cam started well. He's looked pretty confident. Shots like that, just watch the ball nicely as the bowler comes in again.
Oh, it's a touch fuller.
Peel,
and immediately we see that troubles the batsman. It is because they have to watch for the late swing. It's just a little more effective, and that's why this bowler, who looks to be bowling a bit shorter.
Obviously, you're a top order batsman. When you are opening batsman, do you kind of feel they have as the bowler comes in again, defended confidently down to middle? Do you kind of feel it's always best if they're bowling a bit full at you, or do you find it harder if they bowl a short ball?
Yeah, I think it's. I think it depends. It depends on the pitch. It depends if the pitch is like this one, which is a bit more swing, a bit more green. It's going to be a bit slower. I think in general, I prefer, as he pats into the leg side for a no run, I think I prefer a fuller ball, because although it may be more challenging to play, I know if I get my bat on it, if I get a nice defence on it, it's going to help me to see it better in the future.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, as you well know, and Ribbonbat, I'm not one of the greatest batsmen. I'm not horrendous. Driven nicely. That was much fuller.
That's a nice shot.
Cam might get two here. Yes, they do. Good running. That was a very confident shot. But yeah, I certainly, if it's a quicker bowler, I certainly like to use the pace of the ball. So especially on this wicket, the kind of medium paces, swing bowlers can be pretty handy. Obviously, they've got to get their line and length right. But that was good from Cam. Full, and he just drove confidently through the covers.
As he comes in, bowls firmly defended.
Cam has got a 50 this season. I can't remember who it was against.
No, I can't.
Yeah, he did. I know he did get a 50 and looked good as well. And as we've seen so far this morning, he has certainly looked very confident.
Yeah, if you look at the height comparison between Jez and Cam, it's a bit of a stark difference, but nonetheless both talented batsmen.
Yeah. Potentially a change of bowler here.
It'll be interesting to see whether
Reynolds has just got rid of his hat, jumper, and given the towel to his field. And yes, I think he is looking.
He's
like he's going to bowl.
Well, very exciting. I remember the last time I saw Pat bowl was in a first game. He came steaming in. He's bowling very quickly.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see whether he bowls at the same pace again today.
Going off a relatively short run. Again, it will be. I think this is going to be a decent battle, Pat against
Jez.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, son of current history teacher and cricket enthusiast, Mr. Reynolds.
And Harper Tutor.
And Harper Tutor, of course.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see.
It'll be interesting to see where Mr. Reynolds' loyalties lie as Pat comes in, bowls.
Definitely nice.
Interesting ball, which has just stayed low a bit.
And that's what I was about to say. Just kind of died off the surface, and keep him up might want to come up slightly. If you're getting an edge, you don't want it to be falling short.
Yeah, and I think more importantly than pace here is, and we'll keep emphasising this because it will be important, is the line and the length. I prefer to have an accurate bowler on this pitch than a bowler who can maybe sing a couple of in at the ribs.
That comes in again. That's a lot fuller. Bit of a waist swing actually. That will give
does tear
Jez
away.
Something to think about, especially they've got the two slips in. So there's potential. I feel like
just a touch too wide at the moment to draw Jez into a shot. If you get that touch straighter, he's going to go for that drive, and you're going to get that edge.
So starting it kind of middle and off, just off stump here, just drawing him into a drive kind of through the covers or through mid off is a good idea. As Pat comes in again, can you do that now? That's a much better line. Again, did die off the surface slightly.
Yeah. It's a pretty conventional field from what I can see. You've got your mid-off, your extra cover, you've got cover on the boundary, which is interesting because this ball isn't going to fly around the field. As we've seen already, it's a full toss, which is hit hard, but again, wouldn't even make it to the boundary if the fielder wasn't there, just a single.
Driven nicely through the covers. Maybe that's why they do have the person on the cover boundary. But as you say, I mean, the boundaries they're not too big, but in these conditions, as we've discussed, where the ball isn't running as quickly on the outfield, it might be wise to bring him in a bit.
Yeah. There's no one on the leg side boundary at the moment. As Pat comes round the wicket bowls. It's trapped. It's a Yorker ball to Cam, who just defends it into the leg side.
Yeah, good start here from Pat. Is going around the wicket, as we thought. That's how Rafe O'Brien was dismissed. See if he can get his line length right. Didn't get his line length right there, and that is a wide.
And wides may seem unfortunate, but they do add up. If you bowl too many of them, they could be the difference between. We've played teams so far this season that have bowled sort of 30 wides, and 30 runs is quite a lot in the context of a shorter format.
Millfielders. And again, a bit wider there, left alone nicely by Cam. Against Millfield, Will was opening the batting, and they did certainly bowl a lot of wides that did add up. It is interesting. I mean, you wouldn't really think of it in what we assume is going to be a relatively high-scoring game, but of course those are the runs that you then don't have to get as a batting side. So it's certainly important.
That's over there, and Sherborne are 25 for 1 after 5. So a good start in terms of run rate. You want to be sort of getting over 5 and over in the first 10 or so in a 30 over game. And I believe it was Winchester where Cam Golding got his 50. Got that from our statistician, Felix Northover.
Nice. Thank you, Felix, for that.
If you do have any questions for us, feel free to send them in. We're always free for discussing topic. Might get a few players in for an interview as well.
That'd be good.
The bowler comes in, and that's a bit quicker.
That's a very nice shot. Again, as we discussed, won't go away. Should get a couple though.
How do you think Sherborne will approach the slow outfield? Do you think they'll try and hit it more aerial at times?
I feel like you can't necessarily do too much different. I feel like going hard at the ball is an option. Obviously, I don't think you necessarily need to be aggressive, especially in these early overs. I always feel you just need to bat with a positive intent rather than out-and-out aggression. This bowler comes in again. Nicely flicked off his legs again. They should get another couple. Actually, good fielding at.
Pat was round there quickly.
He wanders back to his position at fine leg.
You do wonder if a couple of the OSs may be a bit rusty. Maybe not as fit as they were when they were playing for the firsts.
My brother Max Stevens had just texted him with a question saying, "Why aren't we on Test Match Special?" Well, we're yet to get the call up, but we're hoping for the summer Test matches against.
He comes in bowls. That's a good line and length. Maybe even a touch fuller for that. Toby Talbot Williams has texted in saying, "How do you play a ball turning around your legs?" And this is reference to the fact that he bowled me around my legs the other day. Thanks, Toby, for that.
Toby, why don't you respond? How do you play a ball?
Yeah,
I know you haven't had the greatest start to the season either. That's during competently.
Throw
direct hit, might have been in trouble actually. Gone for no overthrows, good backing up there.
Yeah, it's good backing up. You never like, especially on these pitches where the ball can dive very easy, you never like someone pinging in a hard throw at the stumps when it's not necessary, because they easily slip under the fingers and go off. In comes the bowler, he bowls. That's a good length, just driven down to mid-on for no run.
Cam walks away just to clear his thoughts there. As I said, has started nicely, certainly looked good.
He's currently on 3 runs, but I'm sure that will grow.
Yeah, he has faced quite a few of the wide deliveries as well.
Yeah.
Bowler bounds in again. It's just again slightly leg side. It's just pushed away. Might get 2 again here.
Just a bit straight at the moment, and we're seeing a lot of those type of shots where they're just clipping off the pads. And at the moment, there's no one in at third man. And in comes Mr. Tatham with the hand sanitizer.
Things we have to do. I think is it every 6 overs? I think it is.
Is it?
But I think those are the rules. At least that's what they've been doing in the county championship games this week.
You can always judge a man by how much hand sanitizer he uses. Some of the teachers come in and just sort of do like 2 pumps and it goes everywhere.
Yeah, I'd say, how would you, first 6 overs, what would you say so far?
Well, first 6 overs, Sherborne are 29 for 1. Rachel Bryan gone for 7 and Cam Golding on 4, Jez Meeker on 6. I'd say it's been a good start. I think the bowling of the Pilgrims, they'll be disappointed with the way they've bowled at the moment.
Is that to be expected though? Would they have been expecting to be a bit rusty, or do you think? I think they really want to win.
They hold themselves to high standards, and I think they'll be disappointed that their bowling line and length haven't been consistent. I think they could have got more than 1 had they bowled properly with that. I think Sherborne will get more confident with their stroke play as the ball gets older. It's going to swing less, and therefore they'll be able to maybe attack it more. But I think certainly with a run rate of just under 5, I think they'll certainly be happy with that, because there's no worse thing than having 2 batsmen that don't even necessarily get out but just can't hit the ball, and especially on a pitch like this, it can be quite difficult. And
they certainly will want to be as positive as possible, especially later on. I was just thinking the cover boundary, or square leg boundary, whatever way you look at it, is quite a long one either side, so potentially might be looking to go a bit straighter down the ground if they're trying to get a boundary.
Yeah. How do you think they'll be looking to take on the next few overs?
I feel like they'll just be looking to continue as they have really, kind of rotate the strike nicely, maybe look to hit a couple of boundaries, but it also depends, how many wides there are. As we've discussed, we've seen a few already this morning, but not so much from Pat, who comes in again.
To continue bowls, that's a good line.
Nicely left.
It has been a touch too wide. I think they've got to target the stumps a bit more. You can see where they're going, trying to target that edge.
At the start, just looking to use the swing of the ball to help them out. There has definitely been a little bit there, but not as much as I'd expected. I did expect to be.
When the toss was done about an hour ago, the clouds were quite heavy over, and it looked like there was a lot of moisture in the air.
Nicely played again.
Cam flicks off his pads to square leg, and they'll take another 2. But the clouds have lifted, as we've said, and there is a bit of sunlight, and it's not swinging as much as we said. We talked about how the pitch wasn't maybe as green as we thought it would be.
Yeah. So it certainly looked to have decent enough carry on the slow side, as we would expect considering all the rain, but it's looked pretty good. It usually is the uppers.
Yeah.
Pat comes in again.
Bowls. That's a nice fuller, and that's a lovely shot by Cam, who just gets it down for a single. Those balls can be quite tricky to play. Throughout the day, we're going to be interviewing some people. We're going to have some guest contributors and guest commentators for little 5-minute slots, because we can get boring talking all this time in a 60-over game. So at 12:40, which is approximately in about 25 minutes, we're going to have Mr. Nurton coming on, who's first team coach, and then at 1 o'clock we're going to have interesting
Mr. Tatham potentially. I think.
Mr. Tatham,
and then
struggling with the handwriting for a second.
Mr. Parder 1:20, so that would be good.
Mr. Pardo, who I've heard has been playing in some staff games and has been performing as usual.
Yeah.
We could be in for a sort of...
He's decent, handy, obviously known as a batsman, but very handy left arm off spinner as well.
Yeah, I saw him turning them the other day. Very useful.
Yeah, Pat coming in, as we've discussed, just maybe look to get it slightly straighter, not on the pads, but that's wide and it's gone through for by. It's a difficult one for the keeper to get there.
It's a good length. It's just, again, a bit too straight. If he's pitched that just outside off, that's causing problems for the batsman there. But the fact that he's pitched it on middle means that it's going to miss the stumps or whatever.
They haven't actually had to play it too many so far this morning, Sherborne. Which is definitely something that you want to be doing. We saw Rafe's wicket, as we discussed, he was out bowled, was a nice full and straight delivery. Potentially look for a bit more of that. Comes in with a little bit more intent, running in a bit faster there. Pat, that's flicked away nicely by Jez. Might get a couple. No, just settle for one.
Yeah, you can see Pat's really warmed up now. He's charging in. That's over there. Sherborne 34 for 1. I don't think they'll be in too much of a hurry to go anytime soon. I think they've established a good base.
Both batsmen onto 7 now.
Yeah, some good shots played by both. And again, you have to take into consideration the pitch is slow, and quite a few of these balls which they've hit would have normally flown to the fence, but haven't in these situations.
Obviously, with a slow pitch as well, relatively easy to mistime your drive, which is something they'll be very wary about. Definitely a couple of balls they've left alone, which they might have been able to drive, but we'll see what Jez does now. And again, that's much straighter. Driven confident, I think, into the bowler's boot there.
Yeah.
But that will give Jez a bit of confidence. That one he did go after a bit more, driven back down the ground.
Yeah, it is important to talk about timing of the ball, because it is going to hold up a bit on this pitch.
Bowler turns on his mark quickly.
Yeah, again another one, and that's a shot, and they take a quick single and a slight fumble.
I don't think he quite intended to aim it towards mid-wicket.
And
I
that's
think he was more looking through mid-off region.
Yeah, and that's why you've just got to that bit extra on this pitch. It's going to hold up a bit. Just play that shot a fraction of a second later, and it's going to go where you want it to. So I think, and Jez is a great timer with the ball. So
I think this is a big couple of balls here at Cam. He's just starting to look a bit more settled. He might try and up the intent a bit. I feel like this is about the time where there could be a wicket as he kind of tries to up the intensity. But that's nicely flicked off his legs again. They will not get a run. Thought about it, but nice confident call from Jez.
Yeah, I still think it is a bit short. It's sort of coming in at Cam at the hip at the moment, and where you want it is to sort of draw him onto the front foot instead of him just shuffling back and
as we've seen, he has looked confident so far off that kind of back foot jab. That's wrapped on the pads, but coming from around the wicket, I assume that's pitched
outside
the line.
Could possibly be going over as well, and that's why being fuller is also quite helpful.
It was 22. It was 22. No, it was like 17.
It's been a reasonably decent start from Sherborne. This as you discuss, Cam looking nice and confident, coming in again. That's Fuller driven confidently, but decent stop at cover.
Now, it must be said that there are contrasting scoreboards on the live stream and actually with us at the moment. So we'll do our best to keep up with it. We've got 36 for 1, and apparently on the live stream it's got 32 for 1.
Cam Golding on 7 with Jez on 9, I think that is. My brother has again written in a question, what would you bowl to Rafe and, not to Rafe was out, to Cam and Jez? I'd say, well, as we've just discussing, just a little bit fuller. They've been a little bit short so far. Will?
Yeah, I think certainly don't worry about the pace of the ball. Knowing Max, he's quite sort of, he's quite a slingy bowler, isn't he? He likes to get it in fast. But I think accuracy will be key in this. and you just pitch it on that right area, just a bit fuller, going for maybe just outside top of off. And I think consistency is also key. You're not going to get him with one good ball, although that did happen.
Just definitely building of pressure in these games as well is very important. They're Pilgrims are slightly allowing Cam and Jez here to just rotate the strike. They're not necessarily feeling the need to hit boundaries. They're just kind of knocking it around, which is good from a Sherborne perspective, but certainly Pilgrims and Pat as the captain will want them to tighten up a bit.
Yeah. And that again borders on sort of the psychological aspect of this game, is that quite a lot of it can be decided mentally. And I think
that's
Pat's brought
Mr. Nerton and Mr. Tatham just wandered behind the sight screen there, which caused a little hold up in play.
Pat comes into bowl, a bit shorter.
Again, short. That's a very nice shot there.
Looks like Pat's changed tack as they take the second run. He's sort of banging it a bit shorter. He's brought in a short mid-wicket. He'll be looking to maybe pouch one if it comes his way.
Yeah. So just they're all leaving as well. They're bowling short. They're also leaving quite a nice gap for Cam to just play that shot on the leg side, and it's difficult to see potentially off the stream, but they're leaving quite a big gap.
If you get that ball wrong and it sits up nicely, Cam's got no one currently out on the boundary on the leg side.
No one on square leg. Admittedly, as we've discussed, that's a bit shorter.
That's well
nicely,
played.
But no run. Good fielding actually at point. But yeah, as you're just saying, if it sits up, there's no one on the square leg boundary. So relatively easy pull shot for Cam, although the outfield is slow, so fine leg potentially will be able to get round to it.
In comes Pat to bowl down the hill. Bowls touch fuller this time, and again tickled into the leg side, just a single to fine leg.
Yeah, they do have certainly a slightly more offside dominated field. So you would expect them to be trying to bowl kind of that 4th, 5th stump line. At the moment, just slightly straying onto the pads, which Cam's been playing nicely. Just sorting out the field. Obviously, left-hand, right-hand combination always tricky in the field. You've got to be very alert, especially captain. Obviously, Pat's bowling at the moment. He needs to be alert as to where his fielders are as well as he comes in. Really need a wicket now, the Pilgrims. That's much fuller and straighter, as we've been discussing. Slight hint of a waste from there. That's definitely the line to be bowling.
Get us in the team. It should also be noted that Pat has now brought in cover.
Yeah.
So, oh no, they're moving a man now to the cover boundary. I think that's probably a signal that he's going to try and stick it in that place and get him to drive.
Yeah, I'm also interested by the 2 slips. We haven't seen the edge of these slips, although that last ball is an indication that the ball might just be swinging a little bit more there. It's Patson again. That's definitely wide and might potentially be called wide as well, and is.
I think that's important. We've just talked about consistency. He's bowled a good ball, and now that pressure has been released again with a wide ball. At the very least, you've got to let the batsman play at the next one.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. But with those 2 slips, I'd like to see, as we've discussed, they've been a bit short. Maybe someone kind of going a short catching.
Comes in,
I guess, and that's been good stop by Pat there.
It's a good stop. Those ones can hurt if you get them on the wrong place of the hand, on the fingertips. So those 2 slips are quite narrowly spaced as well. They're not covering a huge amount of ground. It must be
again. Definitely needs to be a bit fuller. This ball. Try and just play at it. That is fuller. Well left there.
That's a good ball. It must be noted that we were given a mistake in the team sheet for the Pilgrims. It's not Will Smyberg. It's Will Smybert. Apologies for Will for that.
Yeah, he hasn't had, well, certainly hasn't had anything to do in the way of a catching chance yet. But he's looked relatively confident. As Will was discussing, slips quite narrow, so may not have to dive around as much as he might usually.
Yeah, I think Sherborne have been playing it well so far, and they'll be pleased with the way these 2 are approaching it. They're not playing anything stupid, but they are taking the shots when they're available. I think it's a good build for a partnership, and if this can grow, then you sort of get your bigger hitters, sort of Dowling, Carl Smith, who can come in and really try and accelerate.
Parnell, Tommy Smith can all give it the long handle. So it'll be interesting to see as this game progresses, obviously, as the partnership lengthens, whether we'll see any changes in the order. That can always happen. 41 is the score at the moment.
Tommy Smith, obviously a new addition to the first team. Came into my room the other day, very pleased with his new stash he got.
It is very nice, the first kit. Obviously you're seeing them in whites today, but they have, especially when they play T20 or 100 ball games, they've got a lovely kind of they've got all the gear.
It's much better than the football kit for this year, which was a horrific gold, which made them look like canaries.
And we were just talking about those slips. One of them has been taken out, and I think is that changing the bowler potentially.
No, I think it's a continuance of the same bowler. Oh no!
I think it is different bowlers. Slightly early on that pull from Cam.
Yeah,
again quite short.
He's gone through that shot again after he's mistimed that, and I think he will get quite a lot of that. And we've already talked about the short ball. What would you say are the basics to playing a pull shot? What are the important things?
Well, I mean, I think I would throw that question back to you, obviously being more of a batsman, but I'd say,
has he got anything on that?
No, he
hasn't.
Immediately said no. Pilgrims plays him very, very confident.
My first reaction there was that there wasn't anything on that.
I think potentially
if there was,
just
it was a bit of pad.
But I mean, I would say obviously timing, as you've just discussed, is important. Rolling your hands over it. Try and keep it down, but I mean, what would you say?
Yeah, I think rolling your wrists. It depends what type of pull shot you want to play. If it's a ball that's
again slightly uppish, should get a couple here.
Yeah,
they do turn. Cam runs quickly. A bit of hesitation from Jez, but they will comfortably make it in.
Yeah, you've got to. If you're trying to play it along the carpet, obviously just trying to sort of tame the ball down to find leg, you'll roll your wrists over it and just guide it. If you are trying to accelerate a bit and play an attacking shot, then you will try and hit it upwards. And if worse comes to worse, you get a top edge. He comes in, bowls.
Solidly defended. So that's the type of shot that's definitely where they should be bowling. Just kind of starting kind of on off stump, just angled in, maybe a little bit of a leg cutter there. Cam plays it nicely under his eyes. I'd say that's definitely the length we've been discussing is a lot better.
Yeah. But back to the pull shot. An excellent player of the pull shot is Ricky Ponting, obviously, and he talked about making room for yourself. Don't let yourself get cramped up trying to get it away from your ribs as he comes in bowls. Again, that's straight to leg.
On the pads,
close this time.
It has to be outside the line.
I think it was close. If it was, it would have been hitting the stumps, but I think because it pitched outside leg.
That is the danger, as we've discussed. That's definitely why. I mean, I always prefer when I'm bowling, I bowl in swingers to a right-hander. So when I'm bowling to a left-hander, I always prefer to go around the wicket, starting it on kind of middle stump and swing it away, mid and off, and just swing it away towards the slips and the keeper. And I would definitely like to see more of that. Of course, that's how Rafe was out earlier for 7.
And he comes in. Again, this is a good line of length.
Yeah, it's a good little spell of pressure here. As we discussed earlier, very important that he finishes this over well. Cam will, or is that the end of the over? I think that is the end of the over. So yeah, good finish to the over there. Kept it nice and full. Cam will, a couple of dots there, so he'll just want to rotate the strike early when he gets the chance in the next over.
Yeah, I don't think you can be too worried about a few dots at this stage of the game. I say this as an opening batsman, not a very good one, but as an opening batsman, the opening batsman's role is not necessarily to score runs, it's to sort of remain there and make sure if the wickets fall that you're there to sort of hold up the team. I've never done that, but I'm sure that's the ideal role.
Yeah, I wonder how many Pat is going to bowl here. Is this his 3rd or his 4th? I feel like he's bowled a decent enough spell, as we discussed.
This is his 4th. Actually.
Only 6 overs allowed, so he obviously feels like he's the man to get a wicket here.
He's the middle overs bowler. We're not even there yet.
Yeah.
We are a third of the way through the Sherborne innings. If they carried on at this rate,
Pat comes again. Definitely Pilgrims wanting to break this partnership. They're just building confidence. Pat in again.
Oh, and a big swipe by Jez, and The keeper has a go.
Jez is a bit annoyed with himself there, just tried to walk away.
How do you mentally recover from that? You've taken a big swipe and you've missed it.
Yeah, well, I'd say just kind of as Jez is doing now, walk away, walk towards square leg, just have a little think, clear your head. And I'd say next shot, either leave it or just play a solid forward defensive as possible, try and rotate the strike maybe. But I mean, certainly as a bowler, and Pat's actually doing it now, which I quite like. He's just waiting a little bit, just to keep the batsman thinking. Obviously,
that one's a bit too straight, and it's thudded out towards the leg side boundary. And
it didn't go,
just
only a single. But yeah, some bowlers can, I guess, get quite excited when they bowl a good delivery. I always feel like it is also important to take those few extra seconds. Obviously, you want to keep the batsman under pressure, so you would maybe want to bowl as quickly as possible, but obviously you yourself want to keep the pressure up on them. And taking those extra few seconds, especially to a left and right hand combination as it is at the moment, where you've got lots of different things to think about. As he's getting ready, just sorting his field out.
Bringing in that short mid-wicket again.
Yeah, which I think is a good decision. We haven't seen any edges. They haven't been trying to play any late cuts down to the third man region. So see what Pat can do here. Surely this must be his last over, you'd like to think. Comes in, that's much wider.
And that is called a wide. If you just look at where that mid-wicket's just gone and those two pitches he's standing by, they're much greener. They're what they call a green top. Unsurprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're not being used. They haven't been rolled. This is definitely the main pitch that they like to use. It's more straight on for the ground as Pat comes again. Want to get this one a bit straighter and does. That's too straight actually.
Better shot by Cam.
Shot. Will it
this
go?
one will not go for four again. No, it hasn't. Good piece of fielding. It's come off the middle of the bat there and it hasn't gone for four, which tells you all you need to know about this outfield. We've got a text from Max Stevens again. He says we're doing very good.
Very good?
Yeah.
That's doing very good. Not there.
It's so cool to hear you on the telly. Are we on the telly?
Well, I mean, it's being live from Sky Sports haven't given us the contract yet. Yeah.
Please do send the link around. It's on YouTube. Get as many people listening as possible. Oh, that's a better shot from Jez. And it's going to be chased. Will it make it for four this time? Yes, it will.
Yeah, it will. Good effort by the fielder, but in vain on the boundary. Got out the big dive, but his body was certainly over the rope as he touched the ball, which is a four.
Sherborne's first boundary of the game, which is and it's come in the 10th over.
52 now for Sherborne, so they've started confidently. 50 up, they really will be looking to bowl, and I feel like we've just seen over these past couple of deliveries a bit more intent here, which is good.
In comes Pat, he bowls again. That Fuller one, it's a full toss, clipped through mid-wicket, going in the same area again, and this time it will go for four, definitely.
Yeah, so Jez just starting to accelerate here. Certainly that's a very confident shot.
Just been sent a text by Ollie Palmer, who said, "Is that you in the box?" It is indeed, Ollie. We're having a great time in here, actually. Yeah. We're sat right next to the first team, and Ollie's on the live stream, which is very good, with Billy Stevens, of course. Both Harpoons, Ollie former Harpoon. Shame he's not playing today, as Pat comes in, bowls again.
Ollie, it's much better from Jez. Real sign of that attacking intent.
It's a bit of intent, bit of a toe end there.
Yeah. Don't think he quite timed it, but
for four again. 3 fours in a row.
Yeah. Watch when Jez moves on. Scoreboard says it's on 18, but I don't know whether that will change. Now I think he is on 18. So good start from Jez.
It's just moved him back to 12. No, he's on 22.
So yeah, good over for Sherborne there, and I feel like that might be Pat Reynolds' last for a bit of time.
Yeah, and that's the type of player that Jez is. He's played himself in. He's a bit of a gentle giant. He may look a bit of a brute, but he likes to play himself in, and then he likes to play his shots, and hopefully that's what he'll do today. Ollie's just said, loving the analysis of Pat's wides. I'd say Pat has been...
No, I'd say he's been actually the pick of the bowlers so far. opening bowler at the other end. Unfortunately, we don't quite know the names.
We've been given sort of a half-hearted written list of the Pilgrims team, so we're doing our best to try and piece it together.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely bowled pretty well. Hasn't been as wide as some of the other bowlers.
But it does raise an important point, and again we go back to consistency. Pat's bowled a couple of beauties, but he's got no wickets to show for it, and I think that's because he bowls a nice ball and then he bowls that wide again, which is just...
Especially in that last over, I feel like potentially starting to tire a bit. Those last 3 deliveries, they were all put away nicely from Jez, but certainly the last one was a bit of a gift to someone as such high quality as bowled in.
Josh Evans, I'm told, is bowling from the other end.
I think that's a little bit harsh. Called a wide.
Oh, that is.
He did have a bit of a go at that cam. Fished for it outside off stump, but didn't edge it. I feel like there's a bit of a vacant gap as well, kind of to a wide third man. So if he does decide to play a late cut, could run away.
So Ollie has told me this is Josh Evans, who was Harper until 2017. In fact, I think he represents the only Harper people in the team.
The majority of people seem to be from the Green or School.
There's 3 members from School, 2 from Digby, 1 from Lion, 2 from Green, and I think...
Good start here.
Josh Evans comes in, bowls again. That's again on the pads. It's looped up in the air, and it should be taken. And it is taken, and Cam has to go.
Yeah, it looks confident. Cam never quite got going, however. Look good. I think that's 16 he's made, but that's another one of those where Sherborne batsman's kind of got a start. It's kind of starting to really be how their season's starting to turn out. Gets a start, doesn't quite convert. Hoping that Jez will be able to convert this into a bigger score, but looks good, Cam.
Well, I think he's done what he wants to do as an opener, is sort of stay there for the first few overs and make sure the team gets off for a good start. That was just sort of that one where it does stick a bit in the pitch, and it's that top edge which just looped up and was taken.
Yes, this is an interesting period of the game. Max Dowling, as we discussed earlier, has been in okay form this season, scored 44 recently, but will be looking to get a score and build a nice partnership here with Jez.
Yeah, another more attacking player, likes to play shots as well.
It's going to be quite an interesting period of the game here, seeing how Sherborne will approach this, whether Jez will continue to be more attacking, whether Max will try and bed himself in. I feel like quite crucial if Pilgrims can get another couple of wickets here, get Max out early, starting to get into more the middle order.
And I think this is where Sherborne will be looking to improve their game, is when they do lose a wicket, is not losing wickets again in another...
They certainly did it there
with
Jez and Cam. Did build a nice little partnership actually. Don't know how many, but maybe 40 odd, late 30s potentially, so good little partnership. But yeah, crucial period of the game here.
We're going a bit slowly back
So the
Mr.
players
Nerton
did cross.
Yeah, we've got Mr. Nerton coming to the commentary box here. What are your thoughts on the game so far, sir?
Well, first of all, I'll just say it's great to have you boys doing the commentary today, and you're doing a brilliant job. I've already had some feedback on social media about what a great job you're doing, and I know that there's lots of people watching the live feed and listening to your commentary and really enjoying it. So thanks for giving up the time.
Okay, yeah, no, we really enjoy it. We'd probably be watching anyway, if we're honest. Not in lessons, of course, but we would probably come down here and watch. That was a bit of a flash from Jez. What are your thoughts on the game so far?
So thoughts on the game so far. I mean, I think you mentioned earlier on that the wicket probably a little bit slower than you might normally expect. Although I think we've got to give the groundsman credit.
Yeah. Jez here, but again given a wide.
Give the groundsman credit for us being able to get the game on, given the rain that's been around overnight and indeed over the last few days. And of course the outfield is a little bit slow, which makes it harder for the batters. But I think early on they rotated the strike quite well, the openers, and got us off to a steady start. And now Jez has obviously struck a few boundaries, which has really pushed the score along. So we're setting a reasonable platform. with some hitters to come.
Yeah, exactly. Just pushing into the covers nicely there by Jez. As you say, had a good last over. We'll certainly be looking to. But how would you like us to approach Sherborne to approach these middle overs? Do you think slightly more positive, but aggressive?
Absolutely. I think the thing that we really try to impress on the boys is that they should be looking to score off every ball, especially in these shorter format games. So you reduce the number of dot balls that you face as a batsman. So really you're looking to score singles off the good balls and put the bad balls away for 2 or 4. And we've identified that the teams who deal with the dot balls the best, i.e. have fewest dot balls when they're batting, but also put pressure on the opposition to create dot balls when they're bowling, tend to be the team that come out on top.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel obviously this game was scheduled to be a 50 over game, I think, and put down to 30. How does that mindset kind of change as Jez drives us?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've stuck with the normal order. Oh, there we go, a few buzzers there.
A little overthrow. Not the greatest throw from mid-off.
No. Some of these boys might not have played a lot of cricket recently, I suspect.
Discuss that.
Yeah. I think we've stuck with the normal sort of order we'd have in the batting lineup to start with, but we'd like to be able to put maybe some of our hitters in a bit earlier. Maybe with 10 overs to go, it'd be ideal to see the likes of Charlie Wills or Charlie McKay.
Is the order quite flexible?
It is flexible, as I say, especially with a couple of those guys who can hit quite a long ball. Obviously we want to give them a chance to do so, and even if they come off for 3-4 overs, it could give a real impetus to the innings, which is what we'll be after to try and get us up to a decent score. But it's about the boys learning on the job, if you like, how they go about putting innings together, whether it's 20 overs, 100 balls, 30 overs, 50 overs, and this is a good experience for them. I think, to be fair, the Pilgrims have actually bowled okay. I know Charlie Carr-Smith bowled a few wides early on.
Oh, was he the opening bowler?
Yeah, so he gave us a few freebies there. Yeah. But other than that, they bowled well. I mean, he bowled a Jaffa to Rafe, of course, to get Rafe out. I don't think Rafe could have done much about that. No. And otherwise, I think they bowled steadily. A few mistakes in the field, perhaps.
I mean, as you say, they might not have played for a while. But do you remember lots of them when they were at Sherborne?
Yes, yeah. So many of them, and I've actually played quite a lot of cricket with a number of them for the Pilgrims over the years as well. And
were these guys all first team or second?
No, a bit of a mixture. So we've got a few here who are regular first teamers, some who played a bit, and then 1 or 2 who didn't play in the first team at all, which is actually really positive thing to see that boys have come on. I mean, what pleases us?
Driven, confident,
again,
no run.
What pleases us most as coaches is that the boys go on to play cricket after they've left school. So seeing some of the boys come back, Jolly Frank springs to mind, for example, who has played just as much, if not more, cricket since he left school and carried on playing club cricket and has become a better player, is just fantastic for us to see, because that's what we want to do, really, enthuse the boys about playing cricket so that they do carry on.
Oh, that's uppish.
Bigger shot.
Looks like it's over mid-on. It's gone
just managed to get that over the top of Charlie Taylor at mid-on there, and Charlie Taylor struggles to get off the ground actually when he's jumping for the ball. So I think Jez is fairly safe doing that.
Yeah, he had certainly upped the intensity in recent overs, Jez, which is good to see. Just kind of needs to let Max down and get in at the other end potentially.
That's right, and I think again that's something we talk to the boys about, batting with intent. That doesn't always mean striking boundaries. Jez is doing that nicely now, but it just means looking to score. And as I said earlier, looking to score off every ball if you can.
In comes Pat. He bowls. Oh, he's knocked him over.
That looked like a good ball to me.
Yeah, it did look like a bit of a leg cut to me. Maybe just went away off the seam. Hit stop off. Very nice dribble. I think it's Ollie Carr-Smith to come in next. So hopefully he'll be able to rebuild a bit with Max down. And just lost a couple of quick wickets there, Sherborne.
Yeah, which has been our Achilles heel a little bit this season. It does really sort of take the momentum away when you lose a couple of wickets. So important to keep those wickets in hand. But today with a shorter format, actually, we're still in a reasonable position here. That did look like a good ball, I think.
Did look like a very good ball. Got to give the bowler credit there. Do you know who the bowler is, sir?
Pat Reynolds.
It's still Pat Reynolds.
Yeah, still Pat Reynolds. But I think similar to race dismissal, actually, it was the length of the delivery there that did. Jez got a little bit stuck on the crease, not quite forward, not quite back, and then it did a little bit, like you said, just a little bit off the seam, and it's hit the top of off stump. I mean, it's a good ball, isn't it? Really.
Certainly a lot fuller than we have. But a good entertaining knock from Jez, I think, off around about 27 there, I think it is.
Yeah, he's played nicely again. he'll be disappointed not to go on and get
Yeah.
a few more, having got himself in.
Yeah.
But he has played nicely again.
We did discuss earlier on that has slightly happened to Sherborne this season. Batsmen have got starts, they managed to get themselves out. Obviously, Jez hasn't really got himself out there. That's just a good delivery. But how would you say as a coach, how do you try and stop that from happening? Is it a mentality? Or?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's mentality, it's concentration, and this is an area that we think probably the boys, having not played last year, so it being a long time since they played cricket out in the middle, this is probably having a bit of a knock-on effect in terms of their ability to bat for periods of time and maintain that concentration. I mean, I wouldn't be too critical of Jez there or Rafe, as I said earlier on, because they are good balls, and I think even if you're in, you're probably going to get out to that sort of ball.
Yeah.
But in other games, you're absolutely right that boys have got in and then got out, perhaps softer dismissals, poor deliveries, and that is something we've got to try and get the boys to do. And it does come down to concentration. We've seen that they can bat in the nets and they can do it for periods of time, but we've got to get them doing it out in the middle to perform in the matches.
He comes in bowls. Ooh.
Got up a bit there, a bit more bounce. In the nets, as you say, how do you try and emulate more of a match feel? Do you like to get the boys onto the square?
Yeah.
Or what do you try and do?
So you can get the cage out on the square, that's a good way of doing it. I mean, the trouble is if you do a full middle practice with all the fielders out and so on, you have a lot of boys not doing very much for periods of practice, so you want to have them actually practicing and doing it, but then you do also want to try and simulate the game. I mean, in the nets you can give them 1 or 2 chances, so if they're out, or if they get one more chance, you can tell them where you set the field. But it is different in the nets because you don't actually have fielders. You don't actually know if you've hit it over the top or in the gap. Those sorts of things are difficult to get right, and partly why we do try and have a lot of games so that they get these experiences. But some of them haven't had those experiences.
Yeah, so I mean, the first team usually two or 3 times a week.
Exactly, yeah. So the first team would normally be playing at least a couple of times a week, and actually the last week or 2 they've had even more than that.
Yeah. A bit leg side and just flipped off the pads nicely. Run out of chance.
So that's Henry Carl Smith has fielded that, and he very much a rugby player when he was at school, but again loves his cricket, has been back and played for the Pilgrims quite a lot in games. Is
the Pilgrims an annual fixture?
Yeah.
Yep. So we play the Pilgrims in the school. Play the Pilgrims twice in the term. Once for this fixture, which is normally OS Day, of course. Normally we'd have the big marquee here, and then again on Commem in a 20-over game right at the end of term. So
is that game happening this year as well?
due to be happening. So let's
might
hope
get
we
some fans. Might get fans.
Well, spectators, hopefully, imminently we'll be able to invite some spectators back to watch, which will be fantastic.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for having me on. I'm going to go off and do a few little jobs, get ready for the rest of the game. But you're doing a fantastic job, and keep it going. Good luck with the rest of the day.
Thanks,
sir.
Enjoy. Start again. Yeah, as we're just discussing. Good chat.
So, and this is sort of the future of Sherborne cricket. The crease here, we've got 2 players who will be arguably staple players of Sherborne in the future. He comes in, bowls, playing a miss.
Yeah, Max early on his innings there might have left that alone, you would have thought. But a good delivery, just probing length, getting him to drive at it.
Yeah, and actually I'm filming Max's PE thing here, so I've got to be careful to make sure to record him when he's on strike. As he comes in, bowls, just that shorter length again, which just holds up on the pitch.
Yeah, as Mr. Nerton did say, the groundsmen have done a very, very good job. Obviously, matches today against block fixtures against Malvern were cancelled yesterday because of the rain that they've had over there and the rain that we've had here. But yeah, the upper looks in good nick as it always is, really.
Yeah, lovely. Oh, it's a lovely drive from Max, and it's gone out, and it looks like they'll take 2 from it.
Yeah. Good running for Sherborne there. I'd say a confident push.
Yeah.
Confident push into the covers.
Yeah, you notice how he doesn't go after it too much. There's not sort of the massive swing, it's just a little push into offside, and he's still got 2 from it. Outfield
slowly beginning to gather a little bit of pace, I would say, as well.
Yeah. As he comes in, a bit shorter again, just...
Not sure, to play that nicely, very watchful. Down. Max, as you were saying, these 2 will of course be around in the first team next year. So they'll be looking to get in some good performances to really staple down that position if they haven't already.
Yeah. As he comes in bowls, this one's on the leg, just turned to square leg.
Flip towards the pads nice. We've seen a lot of that from Sherborne today. They've looked pretty confident.
We're just gonna have a little chat here with one of the players.
Can they hear me?
Is it
You need to come close.
Tom
sit down.
Ewart Smith, I believe?
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce it? Tom, were you coming into bat today?
The measly number 10 position.
You come into 10. So
Yeah.
you come in with 3 overs to go. What's your game plan?
So I'm not a natural kind of big hitter. So what I do is basically, I just look to get at least a run and ball.
Yeah.
Just singles and twos basically, finding the gaps.
Yeah.
Because eventually if you're getting 1, 2 a ball, yeah, you're going to rack runs up.
How do you, in the nets, how do you sort of work yourself to try and prepare for matches to get those little 1s and 2s?
Well, I try different stances. So if I want to go kind of big, I'll stand more of an open stance, and I'll kind of sit back in the crease.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just practice that in the nets, and then to spin in the nets, I just kind of come up the pitch, big step.
What would you also say is a good score on this Wicket? Have you spoken to Rafe or Jez about what they thought about the pitch?
Yeah, Jez said it's not that challenging. I reckon you got to get at least 150.
You think?
Even though the outfield's slow.
30 overs, 180 balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, as near to 200 as possible. I'd say 150. You've always got a
150
chance.
would be disappointing, I'd say.
As a bowler, have you been out and seen the pitch at all? Do you know what's happening?
Yeah, I went and looked. I actually had a ball in it before training. And it's sorry.
Yeah, go on.
It's very nippy, it's fizzing off the pitch, kind of skidding, which is awkward for the batters, which is nice for the bowlers. So yeah.
Yeah, has any grass been left on it? It looks quite nice from here.
Yeah, I know. Considering the amount of rain we've had, it's not very green at all, which is perfect.
Pat comes in again.
Bowls, that's a fuller one.
A little bit of a waist swing there as well.
It's just died a bit.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly been Pat's been the one to get it to move around the most. You a swing bowler, Tom?
I'm primarily not. No, I just bowl it.
Just bowl it.
Straight.
Just say what happens.
Just bowl it. What length do you reckon you're looking to bowl on this pitch?
Full. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your expert analysis there, Tom, as Pat comes in.
Fuller than that.
Smith, just a quick single taken, and his cousin can't throw the stumps because he doesn't want to run him out.
Full, definitely. Trying to hit the top of the stumps.
Where are you expecting to bowl today?
Hopefully first change.
Who are Sherborne's open bowlers? Is it going to be Charlie and Rafe?
Charlie probably. Might mix it up. He might put Charlie McCaig on instead of Rafe. Might put Charlie McCaig on instead of him. So 2 Charlies maybe.
In comes Pat again. That's a lovely ball.
Or even got the option of Rupert Thomas.
Yeah, that's definitely done a lot of the seam there. It's, again, slightly too short, I would say, but has moved around.
So that's a nice
Caused a little bit of trouble.
That's pretty much where you want to be getting it though.
Yeah.
Can't wait for them to bring a spinning.
Yeah.
Tom Clark.
What do you think will happen with the spin? Do you think there'll be a bit of grip on the surf?
Rafe said he thinks it will be very, very nice for spinners because he said something about where it's going to land. I don't know.
Yeah, well, certainly in the nets when we've been training, there has definitely been a little bit of spin there on the slightly slower wickets. It's certainly great. Will's enjoyed that.
Charlie Fairclough Wood, who is one of our only left-arm spinners, has bowled some absolute beauties which have been turning miles. So hopefully it can be emulated here on the pitch. Pat must be close to finishing here, is he?
I don't know, is he going to decide to bowl himself out? It's a little bit of a slur ball there. You would be surprised if he bowls himself out. You would think he might leave himself 1. I thought he would only bowl 3, maybe 4 at the most.
You'd expect them to save him some overs for the end, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean,
he's bowling
he's
well.
captaining, so I guess
He's bowling well.
So
maybe he just wants to keep going while he's bowling well and put his death bowlers on.
Yeah.
Doesn't want his muscles to freeze
I reckon
up.
if I go in, I'd probably have 3 overs left. I reckon I'm probably facing spin.
Do you think?
Considering they haven't.
No, I doubt they'd want to bowl
In
spin
comes-
to you, considering you're such a big hitter, Tom.
Oh
In
yeah.
comes Pat. Oh, there is an edge. It
Is an
didn't
edge.
carry, I don't think, as it trickles down to the
Yes.
fine leg boundary. Is the
Thank
third leg
you,
boundary.
Tom,
go.
for your analysis. That was one of the first edges that we've seen there. Just went in between first and second slip. As Will says, don't think it quite carried.
Yeah. But it does show there is that bit in the pitch for those misplaced shots. And it looks like we're going to have... Is it hand sanitizer time or
No,
drinks?
I think it might be maybe a bit of lunch.
Well, I hope we're getting some.
It is. Might be lunch, I think.
Wow. It was Sam Pope at slip there who just dropped that.
Yeah, so it looks like we might be going for a bit of food here, potentially a bit of lunch. So we'll join you soon for the rest of Sherborne's innings.
78 for 3 of 15 is how Sherborne end at lunch, and we'll be back in a bit with the next bit of coverage. Welcome back, everyone. We've had a quick break for drinks before we're resuming, and we've got Mr. Tatham with us.
Good to see you, chaps, and good afternoon, everyone who's watching. Interesting point of the game, I think. Halfway through the Sherborne innings, 78 for 3 on the board, and obviously from here we'd be looking to the 2 not-out batsmen, Ollie Carr-Smith and Max Dowling, to go on together and help us build a score somewhere in excess of 150, I think.
Would you say that's a decent score, near as 200 as possible, maybe?
So I think anything over 150, heading up towards 200, makes for a good contest and a good chase, hopefully. Obviously, we're reliant on the weather.
Yeah, exactly. Which
so far has been pretty good.
Yeah, we've been lucky. I think that the decision to shorten the game early on made sense. Gives us the best chance of getting a whole day's play in, or a whole game in at least.
We were asking Mr. Nerton, how does the reduced format impact the message to the players going out? What sort of change in the style of their playing have you seen or told them before the game?
So we were just having a chat when the batsmen came off for drinks just then, and we were targeting specifically in the first thing to double our score over the next 15 overs. You'd hope to see batsmen in a shorter innings look to be a bit more aggressive, a bit earlier in their innings, and certainly we saw that very effectively from Jez before he was out. So I think that's the message to the guys yet to bat is to be positive, to run well in particular. The Pilgrims are perhaps not as dynamic in the field as some of our opponents might be, and so if we can put a bit of pressure on them and run well, that will help add to the score.
And from a bowling standpoint, we've seen so far today some bit mixed bowling, some lovely deliveries to get rid of Jez and Rafe, but a few wides in there as well. What would be your advice to the Sherborne bowlers? Obviously, what are you going to say to them when they bowl?
I think that's a very good point. I think there've been some really good balls, but they have been interspersed with some less effective deliveries.
Yeah.
I think for our guys, when we bowl, of course, we will have the advantage of knowing what target we're defending, and of course that will help with the fields we set as well. But crucially, in any form of cricket, when you're defending a total, it's about the discipline. It's about bowling a line and a length, about setting a field accordingly and not deviating from the plan. And we've got lots of people who've got more than 5 bowlers who can do that job for us. And that's the thing, to just keep control of their innings by the way we bowl.
Yeah, you slightly raised a point there. Do you prefer to chase or set a score?
I think that's a really interesting point. I think my personal preference would always be to bat first. I think for a range of reasons, I think it allows you to control the tempo of the game if you do so. I also think that Sherborne sides normally field better second. I think we're perhaps sometimes guilty when we field first of losing concentration. Which is harder to do when you know you're defending a score. So I would always look to bat first.
Wow.
It looks like a bit of spin potentially coming on here. It'll be interesting to see how the pitch plays in the nets, as we discussed earlier. The pitches have tended to spin a bit. Is that what you're expecting here?
I think you would expect the pitch to take a bit of spin. This is Tom Clark coming on to bowl. He left 2 years ago. He was in Schoolhouse, came in the sixth form only, as a cricket scholar. Very fine leg spin bowler.
Nice. Leg spin, interesting.
Coming down the hill. Comes in, bowls, first ball. It's a bit of a full toss, bit of a hoik at it first up.
That wasn't anyone's idea of a good bit of cricket.
Slightly missed out there. Might be a bit irritated with himself.
Have you seen the pitch? Do you expect it to spin?
There's always a bit in it. I think Sherborne wickets are always there's a bit in it for batsmen.
Big appeal there.
And he's been given.
Got him.
It did look pretty dead from where we were from.
It looked very full as well, so it won't have spun very much. He'll be
went to sweep that, and it's wrapped him right in front.
Given what we were just saying about how much spin there might be in the pitch. interestingly there, he took the spin out of the equation by bowling as full as he did.
Would you say, obviously, choice of shot there, when you're starting your innings to a spinner, obviously hasn't been in for a while, a sweep shot is kind of a more difficult shot to play. Would you prefer him just...
There's certainly an element of risk. Whenever you play a cross-back shot, there's an element of risk, and particularly when a guy's just come into the attack, you don't perhaps quite know what he's going to do.
We've got a question specifically for you, sir.
Oh, goodness me.
Apart from Ollie Palmer's 39 ball 100 against Camford in 2018, what is the best innings you've ever seen at Sherborne? And that question is from Ollie Palmer.
Yeah.
Apart from Ollie Palmer's innings, I have to say, was a very fine innings. The very next game, actually, on the upper, Joe Atkins, son of the groundsman John, also recorded 100 against Blundell's in the final game of that season, and that was a tremendous innings.
Was that a very good season, batting-wise?
Yeah, well, I was coaching the second 11 then, and we played 10 and won 9, so that was a pretty good year. I have to say, I thought the innings that Tom Prest played against us for Canford last week in the 100, he got a 60 odd of 30. Which by his standards is a pretty low score. Some of you will have seen he got a triple 100.
I was about to mention that. Hampshire seconds. Hampshire first team could actually do with a bit of that. I haven't checked the score so far today, but struggling late last night.
Exactly. I think it would be no surprise if he ends up getting games for the full Hampshire side before the end of the season. Whether it's the best innings I've seen here, and obviously I thoroughly enjoyed all these innings. I must keep saying that. I think he's a very fine player, Tom Prest. It'd certainly be a name to look out for, I think, in the future.
That ball there did as the rain is just starting to come down.
I believe the new batsman is Rory Parnell, from what I can see.
Yes, that's right. So we've still got time in the innings to build the innings. We don't need to be necessarily going to all-out attack just yet, which is why Rory's in. We would perhaps look to get some of the faster scorers in after him as we enter the last 10 overs of the innings.
Well, we did just mention Hampshire. If you're a Hampshire fan, struggled to 208 all out, which, to be fair, is a bit better than I expected, considering last night Vince, nice 62, Barker, a big 84 at the end. So just to see, obviously, in these conditions, quite difficult to score. Flit nicely off his legs, but no run.
We could be seeing, and hopefully not, but we could be seeing, and I think that is it.
With that, yes.
The umpires
running from the pitch, perhaps.
Oh, it is, and as I say it,
Covers are coming on, starting to rain quite heavily now. Hopefully it isn't too long of a delay, but the weather does not look great.
Looking from where it's coming from.
It's a lot of grey cloud around.
Sprinting off the pitch here.
Always a horrible sight when you're watching cricket to see the players having to come off. But
it is coming down pretty thick and fast now. So looks like we're in for a little break in play. Take this time to go off, make a cup of tea, get a slice of cake. There's plenty more cricket to come, hopefully.
There was due to be intermittent showers throughout the day, so hopefully it shouldn't be too long until we can resume.
2 umpires taking their time on their way off. No worries for them.
Pilgrims ran off very, very quickly there.
Well, we'll talk about later. In hindsight, we'll talk about how important the wicket just before the rain came was. But for now, it is coming down very, very, very hard. The umpire's still just making their way off slowly. But we'll have a little break in play. Thank you, Mr. Tatham, for joining us.
Pleasure.
And we'll rejoin you as soon as we've got some more news.